So I made the longer portion of this video first, but I want you guys to hear this first because I think it's quite important, and then we'll move on to the main section. But this is like a little 4-minute thing I just recorded to add to the end of the video I just made, but I'm going to add it right here, right now. Check this out. Just listen and contemplate. You may not even want, most people ain't going to listen to the rest of it if you're a professing, uh, Sunday school or Sunday only Christian. You're not going to want to listen to any of this because you probably haven't read the Bible on your own. But those of you who have and understand these things, check this out. Sorry, one more thing I'd like to address is the Greenland thing. If we are truly past the millennial kingdom, which I'm about 100% positive in my heart that we are, we're on the second release, or the release of Satan for a short season where he deceiveth the whole world, because not only just deceiving the fact that, everybody's going to worship the Antichrist, that's not just a deception. He's deceiving the whole world, and that falls into the geographical category as well. But I wanted to touch on Greenland because this tweet right here from Elon Musk, I hope these aren't too hard to see, but this is Elon Musk's tweet. If the people of Greenland want to be part of America, which I hope they do, they would be most welcome. Donald Trump Jr., Greenland is beautiful. Yeah, because they want to surround the camp of the saints. He's basically telling the people of Greenland, we'll make you Americans. We want America. There's been talk about Trump trying to buy Greenland. But what's funny, well, not funny, but funny, if you look on the old maps, the Mercator maps that showed Hyperborea in the center at the North Pole, Rupes Negra, the Magnetic Mountain, the Black Mountain, where the four rivers go out, just like the Bible says, went out of the Garden of Eden, right? Gog and Magog is the war when they surround the camp of the saints. This is I think it's Revelation 21:22, where Satan is released for a short season. He gathers the whole world to make war against the saints. They surround the camp of the saints. Well, if Jerusalem is truly at the center of the world, because I don't want to hear from all you people who believe that Middle East country is the right one, it's not. They had 3 different places they were going to choose from, one of which is Texas, where Jerusalem, Texas was originally. But Texas was one of them. I think where it's at now, and I forget where the other one was, that they had 3 different places they were going to set it up. And just do your own research. They didn't even know they were going to call it the State of Israel. It was going to be something else. Or they didn't know what to name it, but they didn't even know where to put it because they trying to deceive us. So now we think because they have a little hill over there that they named Mount Hermon, and Mount is short for mountain. When you see this thing, it's not a mountain, but there is a Mount Hermon over near California, a real mountain. But anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. Greenland, on those Hyperborean maps where, the Mercator map especially, one of those 4 islands in the center of the earth was almost, or was at one time, tied to the tip of Greenland. Like, it's very, very close. So if Trump is the beast, like I think he is, and he's going to be the one to make war with the camp of saints, and if that is truly the camp of saints, like I believe it is, Greenland would be the perfect place to have your main base. While you take over all, Russia, Siberia backs up right up to it. Canada backs right up to it. Mark my words, Russia, Putin will join the team. He will probably be one of the 10 kings under Trump. And Trump's going to have Russia and Siberia surrounding the camp of saints. He's going to have Greenland on the other, side of the camp of saints. He's going to have Canada and Alaska finishing off the surrounding of the camp of saints. And if he becomes the ruler of all these places, then the camp of saints, if it truly is in the north, like all the old maps say it is, then the camp of saints is surrounded by the beast who gets his power from the dragon. I just want to throw that out there. Love you. What's up, YouTube? It's Biblical Truther. made this video yesterday and it didn't have any audio, so I kind of went on and on and on about some things that I'm going to share with you guys that I've been saying for quite a few years now. So there's a lot of stuff on X popping up about concerns whether or not Trump was the right pick, which we're only given two, and that's by design. But I want to first show you this Twitter post. I think it was from X, where this woman is showing a map from, and I think the link is in there. I'm going to show you another one that's a little closer up, but it's about the Club of Rome in America. Check this out. So Andrea Lynn posted this. If you're wondering why there's talk of bringing in Canada and Greenland, here's your answer. Trump was installed to usher in the New World Order and to get conservatives to accept it, and it's working. She's 100% right. This is a little more close up. These are the 10 regions that the Club of Rome, the Committee of 300, has set forth for the 10 kingdoms around the world. And just as Revelation says, there will be 10 kings given a kingdom for a short time. Just something to think about. So that shows you the map. And as you can see on that map, America and Canada are considered one zone. So this whole charade about Trump, basically telling Trudeau that he can take his country and do a whole lot better job with it, and now Trudeau has stepped down. People are speculating that we're going to basically absorb Canada, but then there's a lot of Canadians saying that they will never consider themselves Americans. But it is what it is. But another thing I want to point out about that is I believe Canada is under the British Crown. So something I thought about yesterday after I made the video, I was going to edit it, and it crossed my mind that, right now we have an old world order. There's not many kings and queens around the world anymore, but pretty much all the EU, Europe, and that sort of place. I believe Australia falls under the crown. Canada falls under the crown. I want to say South Africa. I'm not 100% sure on that. But all these places fall under the crown of England. Queen Elizabeth or now King Charles, whatever. But make no mistake, man, when a certain set of people put Trump's face on that coin overshadowing King Cyrus, that was not just a memorabilia, kind of a praising Trump type of thing. They were letting you know who's going to be the king of the world. And as that map shows, there's 10 regions. Just like the book of Revelation says, the beast will give 10 kings a territory to rule over. Kind of self-explanatory to me. But I don't know, man. What do you think? Was he the right choice? Or are a lot of these things that are happening now just kind of cementing what I've been trying to tell people all these years? And when I was told this, and I was in my truck, and I've said this several times in videos over the years, I was watching a video on the way to work. And it was about the Yellow Vest protest. If I'm not mistaken, that was around 2017, 2018 when all that was going on. But Trump was already president here in America, and I was a Trump supporter. But while watching this video, it was basically showcasing riots in about 7 to 8 different countries. In every one of these places, there was just masses of people holding up signs saying, "We want Trump as our president. We love you, Trump," blah, 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 right? So I also speculated, well, let me finish that portion. As I'm watching the video, I hear that still small voice in my head say, "And he deceiveth the whole world." So that kind of caught me by surprise, because I was 100% behind Trump back then. And I immediately had to call my wife and share that with her. And it has become more apparent since then that that's pretty much the case. He has deceived the whole world. There is no deep state. There is no any of that. He was screaming, "Lock her up," after this atrocious video of a certain situation where her and Uma Abedin did something to a certain young person. You may know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to elaborate too much. Um, but I've seen videos of ATF and DEA, I think it was, people giving interviews about this where they were made to watch the entire video. And it surfaced on YouTube for about 6 hours. I kind of missed that. My wife had seen a decent portion of it and couldn't watch it anymore. By the time I clicked on the link, it had already been taken down. But if that wasn't enough to at least lock her up, then none of that's ever going to happen. He's not going to take out the deep state because they are the deep state. I have said this over and over and over. The Democrats are not this stupid. These people in power, these politicians are not this stupid to make the Democrats look as totalitarian as they have made themselves out to be. This is just basically a sneaky way of shutting down the economy. And I do believe, and it's my personal opinion, that this was the plan Trump was telling all the world leaders when he was making his tour around the world, speaking with everyone, that they were going to allow this to happen to us for this past 4 years before he come back and took control over everything. So just as in Daniel in the Bible, it talks about the Antichrist venerating the God of his fathers, loving gold, having a veneration to Apollo, all these types of things, right? Well, what has Trump always, since I was in my young teens and first heard about Donald Trump, back when The Apprenticeship, I think that's what it was called, was on TV, Trump was basically thrust into the limelight, and one of the things that they said about him is he loves gold. Back in the day, they were talking about his plane, the 747 Trump plane, that has 24 karat gold plated or solid gold faucets and that sort of thing in his plane. Like, why? What would you need that for? It's a faucet. But if you love gold, as Daniel said the Antichrist would, then yeah, you would clad everything in it if you could. But that's not everything. There's some other things that have been popping up. This one was from True Stream Media. I didn't even know this, but check this one out. And this is the one from Truth Stream Media. They say Germany's coalition government collapsed in November. France's government collapsed in a non-confidence vote. And then South Korea's president was impeached in December. Trudeau just stepped down in Canada. And Australia's chancellor just announced he will resign. Busy times. So what's next? Well, it's my personal opinion. They're waiting on the king to be sworn in. So that's a lot of world leaders stepping down or being basically voted out. None of this has really been shared in the mainstream. So who is taking these people's place? Or is it just a vacant seat for the one world leader to come in and take control of these countries? I've long speculated that the Republicans are going to be the totalitarians that we think the Democrats are. And I made this point a long time ago on a video. I even titled it, Did the Republican and Democrat Ideology Switch? I believe it was on my old channel. But when I was about 8 years old, George Bush got elected, and he gave a speech. I think it was his state or the address to the nation, State of the Union, whatever it's called, the little speech that they give to the state, union, whatever, where he mentioned for the first time that I can recollect, or any interviews I've seen or speeches since, was the first one to mention the New World Order. And that caught my attention at like 8 or 9 years old, however old I was back then in '88. I think I might have been 8, first time I heard it. But it caught my ear because I've always heard about that in Sunday school class, going to Sunday school on Sundays most of my childhood. Baptists, just so you know, they always talked about this New World Order, one world religion, all that sort of thing taking over. And sadly, there are some indicators that, in my opinion, he's going to be the progenitor of, just as that girl said on that one thing, that Trump was brought in to basically coerce or put under a spell the conservatives to back this thing that they're going to put out. I also made a video a couple weeks ago called 7G Rollout or something to that effect. I took it down on accident, but I never re-uploaded it. But Elon Musk is, he's a champion of a digital currency. He's also said that they were going to try and use X as like a central bank type deal with dealing with digital currencies. But all this stuff, when they do make the switch, is going to be on blockchain. Well, in my research, the only internet or whatever you want to call it, bandwidth that the blockchain can run on is 7G or above. Now you can verify that for yourself. I don't have any screenshots or anything to show you, but that's just according to my research in the past. Because on this very channel, I think it's the very first video I ever put up, it was only a couple minutes long. I was speculating, and this was back in like 2020, 2021. They were hanging, the power companies were hanging these black boxes on every telephone pole outside of every house from my city limits all the way out to where I live in the country. And I was speculating that it was 6G. Well, about 2 weeks after I made that video, the power company was sending people door to door, basically trying to sell us internet. So when they came knocking on my door, my wife told them, if it's 5G, we don't want nothing to do with it. And the guy was like, oh no, it's way faster than 5G. Now at the time, we still hadn't had 5G rollout here in America. So how is this internet that they're selling better than 5G? Another thing that we have that's suggesting 7G's rolling out is this new plan of the demic kind, right? Every time we've had something to this effect as far as a viral infection is concerned, it has been basically correlating around some type of technological rollout. And most of the time it's some type of wireless type systems, whether it be radio or two-way radio, or you can just go back through the histories when we had the swine flu, when we had the H1N1 in 2008. I think that's about when that was. We were always going from 1G cell phones to 2G cell phones to 3G cell phones to 4G cell phones. And every one of those rollouts, we had some type of sickness break out. Now, I speculated in that 7G video that this next, what they're calling a quademic, it's basically going to be the 7G rolling out. It's a new high-powered frequency that we're going to have to be immersed in because we don't have a choice, apparently. But people are going to get sick. And if you dig into these symptoms and then you go and kind of cross-reference radiation sickness, it's almost identical. Almost identical. So that's kind of my speculation right now, that we're moving on to that, because when this does roll out, they're going to have to switch us to a digital currency because, the money's going to be dirty. It's passing this thing around, right? We just had the confirmed death of a bird flu in Louisiana. I think they just had one confirmed of something else in China. I want to say it was monkeypox or something else. There's been several different ones popping up here and there, and I have the whole chickenpox, monkeypox video on my channel of a dream my daughter had. You can go check that out. The thumbnail is a kid covered in them. But that's coming too. It's just crazy, man. What seems like it should be so obvious to everyone is being overlooked. These people are not as stupid as they've made themselves look. There's a reason they're pushing everybody. I should have had that on before, huh? There's a reason they're pushing everybody to the Republican side. My speculation, just as I said, they I didn't say it in this one. I said it yesterday, but I'm gonna go ahead and mention it now. But when I was a kid, all my family were Democrats. When I got old enough to start understanding a little bit about politics and all that sort of thing, um, I started looking at my family like, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all are Democrats? Why? Because back in the day, all the way up until probably the mid 80s, Democrats had the same ideals as the Republicans have today. They were conservative back then. About Bush Reagan era, they switched. Then you have conservatism on the Republican side and what we have today on the Democratic side. And just recently, I don't know, it may have been 2 months ago, but that's fairly recent for me. I seen like two other videos where people were talking about this. And this video that I'm talking about, I put up about them party switching ideals was like on my old channel. So that was probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, where I put it forth. Do y'all see, or do you remember, if you're in your 40s, 50s, you should remember when the party switch happened. If you really start digging back and thinking about things, and you can see when the switch happened. So it's always been my speculation that they're doing this on purpose to push everybody to what quote unquote conservatism, because just like Trump swapped sides and became a Republican just before he ran in his last term, he was a Democrat before that. So now he jumped on the Republican bandwagon because he was told to do so, if in my opinion, just to bring everybody over to the Republican side. So when they push all this, what's that one that he was supposedly not backing, Project 2025 or whatever, and then there's another one that's Agenda 2030. It ain't 2030. I think it's another one. I did a video a couple months back about it. But anyway, he said he's not for the 2025, but he's for this other one. But now, and just to prove my point, Ron DeSantis was supposed to be this super conservative. Everybody's wanting to move to Florida because he's for the people. Well, have y'all heard about this HALO law? Check this one out.
The so-called HALO law went into effect on January 1st. The HALO law pertains to anyone who's received a verbal warning not to approach. It states people must remain at least 25 feet away from the officer performing their duties.
So this is your Republican governor who's supposed to be for we the people. He passes this law so that there's been a big movement for First Amendment audits. And now they're putting a footage restriction on how close you can be to any first responders. I did a video a long time ago about DeSantis when he pushed the Ambulatory Act, where he said they would round people up and put them in basically EMA camps, by any means necessary, when it was revolved around the CV thing. But it was in an ambulatory act that had to do with how people are supposed to react and drive when a ambulance is coming through your town. It was setting forth new laws and stuff about how you're supposed to yield and all these things that we already knew we should, because it's an emergency vehicle going to probably save someone's life, so why would you try and block them? But anyway, this was buried deep in the bill. Made a video about that. But now he's passed this HALO law. And it's funny that they would call it HALO, because that kind of insinuates sainthood, in my opinion, or angelic. But this First Amendment audit has brought a real bright light, and I know every one of you has experienced this, but it's not just the thin blue line gang that is, basically treating us normal folk like crap. It's pretty much every government building you walk into, these people think that they're above you. They can treat you like dirt. They can have you sit and wait for hours on end like you don't have a life and you could just wait on them to get around to doing their job. Everybody has experienced this. And when they call the cops because you start getting aggravated that they're treating you like crap, here comes the cops to not even get your side of the story, but you're going in handcuffs and you're getting out of there. You're going to jail, or you're just getting booted out of a public building that we the people pay for. So there's just been this big movement with the First Amendment audits, and you can watch those. Some of them are just strictly police watching channels. Some of them go in government buildings and get treated like crap, like we all do. And then the cops come in and they enforce these people's feelings over the facts. Even when you have a video of what happened, these people attack you, shove you, push you, talk down to you, just treat you any type of way. And then the Thin Blue Line gang comes in and they basically don't listen to anything you got to say. Take the government workers' word for it, and there you go. Either off to jail or you're booted out and not able to finish your business that you're there to do. So we the people need to push back against this, because this is the first assault by a Republican governor on your constitutional rights. This is the first assault. Everybody's worried about the Democrats doing away with the Constitution. It's not going to be the Democrats. It's going to be the Republicans who do away with the Constitution. And sadly, most people that I have a good feeling that these are the NPCs of the world who just blindly bow down to their government officials because they need these overlords. Their spines have been removed by these people. They have no kahunas to, you know, there's really no other way to say it. People have no spine anymore. And everybody wants to be in everybody's business. There's no common law to be found in this land. Everything's done, morphed into universal commercial code. They have us tricked into these IDs and forced into insurance that don't want to cover anything. It's sad. It don't matter if it's automobile or healthcare. We're forced to pay these insurance companies, and then they can turn around and deny us service. Then what the hell are we paying them for? That's what I don't understand. How can you force us to buy these coverages, these policies, and then they get to just not what's the word? Supply us with some type of insurance when we need it? It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm not no champion of people doing any type of harm to anyone, but I heard about the little CEO guy and what happened to him. And there's some crazies out there that's going to take matters into their own hands. And I'm not saying go do that, but we can come together as a people. After all, we call ourselves we the people, but we the people are screwed right now. Sorry about that. We the people are screwed right now. And the more the backing these people get, just like the praise that Ron DeSantis is getting. So now you have to stand back 25 feet anytime you're around any type of first responder. So if you're a cop watcher, you can't be within 25 feet of these cops. So I don't think anybody's realizing the level of abuse that this could bring to the public by the cops or a first responder or anybody else who are now put above us. So there is no, you can video all day long, but part of the video is the audio. What are these people talking about? So from 25 feet, you're not catching any audio. So therefore, you have to just rely on actions, and then they kind of create their little police wall so you can't see somebody get the crap beat out of them. I was 15 years old. Granted, I was poor. We were out, me and a friend of mine was out stealing some tires from my mom's car, right? I was 15. Well, we were also staying with another friend of mine whose mother was also poor, single mother. I think she was on welfare, really didn't ever have any food in their house. So me and a friend of mine decided we were going to go break into this 18-wheeler trailer. Well, we got caught, deservedly so. But what happened after that was not deserved. So we're standing there with three cops, me and a friend of mine, leaned up against this railing. behind a ramp that the 18-wheeler trailer was backed up to. We were just trying to get some food. But we got caught. The cops rolled up on us, and they made us stand there in the rain for like 15 minutes till Big Tom, a sergeant at the time, got there. Now, this is their supervisor they was waiting on, and he's about 6'4", or was. I think he's dead now. But he's about 6'4", 350 pounds. I'm 15, about 5'10", maybe 5'11", 220 pounds. He gets out the car and he comes walking up the little ramp and he's shining the flashlight in my boy's face, talking about black folks, how we're disgracing our race. So then he comes over to me and he's got his flashlight like right here in my face and he's talking about black folks this and you disgracing us and blah, blah, blah. I can't believe y'all do this as white boys and this. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I just turned to him like this. And whatever I said caused him to crack me. I don't know if you can see the scar right here. That was from his mag light. That was back when they carried those 2-foot-long mag lights that took like 10 D batteries. So he cracks me in the eye with handcuffs on with this mag light, and I just come unglued. You fat piece of blah, blah, you know. So he snatches me up in the headlock, and he's got me with my back to his chest in a chokehold, and he's just slinging my feet back and forth. And then he body slams me. Boom. All the while cussing, how you like that, you little MFer? So I struggle to get up with cuffs on. I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's not that easy. So I get back to my feet, and I'm still just running my mouth. And he just steps in with a right jab and just busts. I'm talking about just, I called it meatloaf my lips, because that's about what it felt like on the inside, like busted the top and bottom of my lips. And I shut up after that, because he obviously wasn't going to give me a fighting chance at 15 years old. Later that night, we get to the police department, and my mom comes in to get me, and he wants to have a little talk with her, yada yada, you know, all the little cop splaining. So as soon as my mom walks in, he goes to start talking, and she looks at him. She said, "What the hell happened to my son?" He said, "I showed him what it's like to be a man out there." I come unglued again. I jumped up. I'm like, "You fat piece of stuff. I'm 15 years old, bro. If you wanted to show me what it's like to be a man out there, you could have took them cuffs off and gave me a chance. We can go out back." I was a hothead. So anyway, he became my mentor after that. Got put on probation. He used to come to my house, tell me not to worry about, you know, my curfew. We lived in the projects at the time. And he'd come to my house, ask me to go to the football game. I'm like, "I'm on curfew." He's like, "Don't worry about that. I got you covered." I was like, "Well, I ain't got no money." So he'd give me some money. So anyway, fast forward, you know, he basically, anytime he saw me in town, he'd pull me over. And there was another juvenile officer named Ron Addington. He used to like to stop me for no reason. So when I was 18, I stopped doing dumb crap, because then my mom just couldn't come get me out of jail. So I stopped being stupid, started trying to focus. I had a girlfriend who was pregnant right when I graduated. She was 6 months pregnant. So I'm trying to find a job, no insurance, no license, expired tag. I'm out putting in applications, and they pull me over, and they're just like, "What's up, Mike?" I'm like, "What you pull me over for, dude? I got this, I got this, I got this wrong, this wrong, this wrong." He's like, "Calm down." I ain't fixing to calm down, dude. I did everything right, and you still pull me over. He was like, "Because I haven't seen you in a while." I was like 18 and 6 months old. 6 months, they ain't seen me, so now they just pull me over just to see what I'm doing. Because they're such friendly people, right? After watching me get beat up and brutalized like that by a 350-pound man. But anyway, I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-bad cop. And sadly, just like Obama did when he got rid of all the generals back in 2014, 2015, he got rid of all those generals. Same thing with the police. They weed out all the good ones. They just want these demonically inspired, just husks, shells of people, NPCs that can't think for themselves, that just order followers. And that's what you have working in all branches of the government, all the way down to your hometown DMV or your tag office. These people are rude as heck. And you can't tell me that. There might be one or two nice people in your town, but most of them, if they got a government job, they treating you like dog crap. But then the police come in and they just take their side, you know. So before we lose all our rights in this country, something has to be done. And then the only thing that can be done is we, the people, stop fighting with each other and realize who the enemy is. They are systematically destroying this country. They are systematically, because Ron DeSantis is just the beginning. How many times have I told you about some controversial topics that I've made videos about, and I told you this is only the beginning? Well, I'm telling you now, this is only the beginning. Regardless if the Republicans have the House, Senate, and the White House, they're going to be the ones to make these moves, and we'd be lucky if Trump ain't king forever. But another thing I wanted to tell you about is to talk about all the drones in New Jersey. I'm not even going to really address the drones all that much, so much as it is that train that showed up where it was supposed to be all vandalized and missing the contents. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just, I don't know if you want to Google it or DuckDuckGo or some other search engine, but just look about the nuclear material that came up missing the same exact time these drones went up. So either they were real drones and not some type of plasma ball lightning type thing, because that's what it looked like when the initial videos came out before the actual drone videos. But either they were looking for this stuff with the drones, or they were just playing with people, not wanting them to see, you know, the anomalies, the signs in the sky, as the Bible tells us we would see in the end times. But there's so many movies about taking out our government. The white, you know, the president, the vice president, the whole cabinet, you know, Senate, House Representatives. There's plenty of movies that show this, and they always got the designated survivor, right? Hence the show Designated Survivor, because that's exactly what it's about. But they also got this movie called Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf, where the same scenario happens. A train gets robbed of some nuclear material, and then the AI goes in control and starts blackmailing people into doing certain things that lead up to what should have been a basically takedown of the government. But what's funny about that is there's all these movies about this scenario, but what kind of drills have they been running for the past year? Our government. Continuity of government drills. Isn't that odd? That's weird. Coincidental, I'm sure. So why I bring that up is there's about 50% of Christians. There was a poll done a couple years ago, and it was supposedly, it's just, I'm not saying it was true because I've never seen the actual poll, I just heard about it. But supposedly there was a bunch of Christians asked whether or not they believed Donald Trump was the second coming of Jesus. And 50% of them said yes. That is frightening and shocking at the same time. If you think Trump, who's a billionaire twice in one lifetime, hasn't stepped on some necks and ruined some lives and basically destroyed some families to become a billionaire, every billionaire has, you have to be ruthless, non-caring, and willing to do whatever it takes to become a billionaire in this world. You don't, in my opinion, become a billionaire without that man down there, his approval. So I did a video a long time ago. I don't know if it's on my old channel or this one. It's called The Tale of Two Trumps. Back when he was running against Hillary, there was a news coverage on the mainstream news where there was, I want to say it was a gas station in Oklahoma, and I talked about this a couple videos ago. There was I want to say it was a gas station in Oklahoma, but it was definitely a gas station where this kid had basically recorded this guy who was wearing a hat, and it looked like Trump's clone. Well, I speculated in The Tale of Two Trumps that there will come a time when Trump is going to be taken out, but not to lunch, and this guy is going to step in 3 days later and kind of cement the deal for those 50%, and then those other ones that are on the fence about Trump, that's going to solidify their belief that he's Christ incarnate. even though they don't believe in reincarnation, right? So he's having a rally or some type of thing, and it's funny that he's going around telling people what's going to happen, and he's not even president yet, and people are actually acquiescing to what he says, even though he's not sworn in, which is crazy. But he's having this rally or some type of speech or something on January 19th, which another coincidence is 911 backwards, right? So what if one of these type of movies and all these drills that they've been running with the whole continuity of government thing, what if this happens on the 19th? And what would you do if he came back 3 days later? Now, in that video, A Tale of Two Trumps, I also covered the fact that Ben Carson, when he was on Trump's cabinet, he did an interview talking about there being two Trumps. There's the red tie Trump and the blue tie Trump. And if you watch closely on the red tie Trump and the blue tie Trump, because we still see them today, one of them has pretty orange hair. It's slightly gray but more orange. The other Trump, I don't remember if it's the red or the blue, but the other Trump has more gray than orange hair. Pay attention next time they're up, but they're identical. And funny enough, Trump is a Gemini. Zodiac sign, the twins. Also, too, is man, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Involving the twins. Oh, Janus. There's a lot of talk about Janus. Janus, the two-faced god, looking forward and backwards in time. There's a lot of videos being made right now about Janus and Rome and the Club of Rome and how that's basically their god, the two-faced god. Another twin, another Gemini. So it's just crazy, man. There's a lot of videos that I've made in the past years ago that are starting to come true, and I'm not patting myself on the back because this stuff is scary, man. I'm not worried. I know Christ has me. Not worried about any of it. But there's a lot of people out there like this lady. I've been getting so many comments on my Jerusalem, Texas video. That's basically every comment I get that I actually, go back and look on my notifications on YouTube, and I'll have a comment. 9 times out of 10, it's over that video. So I had this woman message me asking me, well, where's Rome then? If, basically telling me I'm wrong. But then I messaged her and told her, watch the next 3 videos after that one, and I go through Google Earth and start showing you how most of these places are in America or in South America, or Central America rather. But anyway, she tells me I'm wrong. I told her, my belief is that we're past the millennial reign. And she was like, we are absolutely not past the millennial reign. You're sliding down a slippery slope. So obviously she's never watched my videos because I'm, basically one of the first people to start talking about that. One of about 4 people that I found on YouTube 4 or 5 years ago that started talking about that, that we're past the millennial reign, because either that we're past the millennial reign because Jesus told the people standing in front of him at the Mount of Olives, some of you will be standing here, some of you standing here today will see me coming in the cloud with my glory. He also said the one that pierced him while he was on the cross would also see him coming. So if you don't believe we're past the millennial reign, then you're saying Jesus is a liar. He lied to the people in the Bible when he said, some of you standing here today will see me coming back. You can believe it or not, but if you don't believe it, then you're just calling him a liar. That's just all there is to it. You can't refute his own words if you're a Bible believer. But I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of that. That's up for you to decide. That's up to you to ask the Holy Spirit. She will guide you into all truth. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to connect some of these dots and throw some things out there and just basically try and get people to understand that this assault that everyone thought was coming from the Democrats, it's not over. The Republicans are going to implement the New World Order. And I think along with his cabinet picks and some of the moves that he's making, people are starting to realize, wait a minute, maybe he is on the other team. Well, no crap. A billionaire twice in one lifetime, and he was bailed out when he lost his billions before. He was bailed out by the Rothschilds after Atlantic City when that hotel, the Taj Mahal, bankrupted him. He was a billionaire just a short time later. Who came to his aid? The same Secretary of Treasury, I think, is the one that he appointed when he was president last time, was the same person who is a Rothschild banker who bailed him out way back in the day with the Taj Mahal. Do your own research. Think I'm lying? But anyway, yeah, this is happening. It's happening, and the Constitution is going to be under assault. It don't matter how many red states we have now; they are going to take it away. Like we're a Republican state in Mississippi, but some of the laws that our governor's been passing are highly, highly questionable, very unconstitutional. And they just want us living under their thumb, whether they're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. It's the two-headed eagle. It's the same bird, the same body, just the Janus bird, the twins. You see the correlation? It's the same bird, just two heads. Janus, it's their god. It's Apollo, it's Artemis, it's all these Roman gods. That's who they worship, man. None of these Catholic church have saint statues. Those are all old gods that have just been put in robes for you to worship now, unknowingly. So I just wanted to make this video and tie some of these things together, man, and just warn you one more time, since you're starting to see the things that are happening that the Republicans are doing. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to go back and forth and just know what you're talking about. Do your research before you message and refute what I'm saying. Don't just disagree. Prove me wrong. Love you guys.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints,